Fall sports in full swing here at the University of Rio Grande. We'll hear from volleyball assistant coach Sara Rawls. We'll hear from bowling assistant coach Karl. We've got all kinds for you, and it's coming up next here on Eye on the Storm. And we welcome you to our latest edition of Eye on the Storm. I'm Randy Payton, Sports Information Director here at the University of Rio Grande, joined by my co-host Jeff Lanham. And I said it in the open, we've got all kinds of different stuff going on the campus. Volleyball, soccer, golf, those are well into their seasons. Bowling's getting ready to start. Basketball's right around the corner. And there'll be a quiz later to try to keep up on all of it.
We talk about that, Randy, that fall is a time when everybody is doing something. If you're not in season, all of your student athletes are here on campus and you're preparing for your season. So we had groups that came in actually before classes began to start their preseason conditioning and getting ready for the season, and now we've got all those other programs are in and going, and they're busy time, always ready to roll.
We said we have a couple of guests in studio with us, and we'll open up and talk about volleyball. We've got assistant coach Sara Rawls in studio with us. You guys, after your most recent outing the other night at Appalachian Bible College, you've won 2 in a row. You're now 5-11, and a slow start to the season, but yet now kind of getting on a little bit of a roll.
Definitely. We definitely had a hard start to the season. We lost one of our big outside hitters in an unfortunate car accident, but she is going to be okay. And, you know, with a young team, we're learning to kind of work through all the difficulties that we've had, and we're definitely on the up and up. So we're hoping for good things for the rest of the season to come from us.
Have a lot of new faces.
Yes,
right?
A lot of new faces.
And obviously, you knew it was going to be a struggle with so many new faces to start with, but then you combine that injury that you talked about to Amaya Jones, who is actually emerging to be probably one of your top hitters on the team, and then you got to scramble the lineup all over.
Yeah. So the girls have been great working with us, you know, just trying to figure out something that'll work every single time, coming up with a new lineup, something that's going to make us improve. And the girls have really struck through it, showing how strong they are to be able to mentally stay in after lineup change. And I think we finally found one that worked. So we're going to keep working with that one and just keep pushing. And like I said, we're on a 2-game win streak. Hopefully we'll be able to win this game on Friday against OCU and keep going from there.
I think we've got a picture of who is now with Amaya gone, who's emerged into your top player up along the net, and that's Ashley Taylor.
Yes, Ashley is a freshman from just outside of Chillicothe, and she is doing phenomenal. Came in as an underdog probably for our outside hitters, and she's really emerged. She's a strong person at the net for us, as well as she can step back and take a pass and play defense, which is great as well.
Talking with Coach Donaldson, she was you know, everybody wants to win and wants to be a part of that, but she was telling me that what a pleasure it is to be, not only to be around these girls during practice and games, it's just anywhere they're at. It's just a pleasure to be around them, and just the kind of personalities they have, and just that is in itself is a positive.
Oh my goodness, such a positive. I've never met such a well-rounded, just polite group of girls. I tell them every single day, you know, you put a smile on my face, making me be on campus, wanting to be in a positive mood, wanting to work harder for you guys, because they're just so appreciative of everything. They work hard for everything, and they always try and find the beauty in life, which is something that when everything is going wrong for you, it's really hard to do. So they're always just supporting each other, always have good things to say about each other. So I couldn't ask for a better group of girls.
And that's going to be big down the road.
Yes, definitely.
And it's just going to show that you have no seniors. Is
no
that right?
seniors.
No seniors. Well, that's
good
and bad, and that you know, it's good and bad, but it's for things down the road is really going to be a positive.
Especially for things down the road. Yeah.
You're good.
You talked about only having 2 juniors. We've also got a photo of one of those, and we talk about somebody to rely on. Katie Hemsley, legend Diggs the other night, and on a roster that is overly young, she's somebody you lean on for leadership.
Oh my goodness, and she has grown up so much. She's one of those girls that started on varsity her freshman year, but with Chandler Brown and the defensive group that they had, you know, she learned a lot from them, and she's just developed so much within the past 2 years that I've been a part of the program. Couldn't be more proud of her. She's stepping up into her role. She's a consistent passer for us. She's a hard defensive player for us. She definitely earns every dig that she gets when she's out there.
Look ahead to the rest of your schedule. The bad news, a lot of it is conference games the rest of the way, and there's some good teams in conference. The good news is outside of 3 or 4 matches, you're home the rest of the season.
Exactly. All October, we're almost home every single weekend, so be sure to come out and watch us play. Both Friday nights we play at 7, and then on Saturdays we play at noon. Hopefully we'll get some good games in there. They're all going to be conference games almost, like you said, Randy, but there's some really competitive teams in our conference that I think we can compete with pretty good this year.
You talk about getting people to come out and watch. I think maybe more than any other sport, getting a crowd in your home gym at a volleyball match can serve as a big plus for the home team.
Oh, definitely. Volleyball is definitely a game about momentum, and just being able to have the crowd on our side, cheering us along the way, definitely puts an intimidating factor on the other team. And when they get any type of a run, having a crowd completely against you can definitely make a swing on the game.
Energy.
Energy.
It just
Completely
provides
energy.
that energy that's there.
You got a chance, we mentioned, with all those games at home, to get a little momentum, get yourself up in the conference standings, and possibly qualify for the conference tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, we're ranked 4th in our side of the division. So top 4 on each side of the division go to conference. So if we can keep moving forward, or even just hold on to that 4th place and then do some big damage in conference tournament, that's what we're looking for.
Well, we appreciate you stopping in today and talking volleyball. And you, like I said, you guys have won 2 in a row, and good luck as you kind of head into the home stretch.
Thank you.
That's Sara Rawls, the assistant volleyball coach here at the University of Rio Grande. As we said, they have won 2 in a row. They're on the road against Ohio Christian and IU East this weekend, and then throughout basically the entire month of October, they'll be at home. The only games in October that they're not home on the 9th at West Virginia Tech, so that's a game if fans want to make a trip down and watch. And then they go to Bluefield as well. That's not that far, so if you're a Rio volleyball fan, there's absolutely no reason for you not to be able to watch the team in October.
It is, and volleyball is a fun sport to follow live. It just you can feel that energy and you can feel that momentum that's there. And in a lot of sports, it's hard to determine, but volleyball is definitely one that you can feel it as a member in the crowd.
Well, we also mentioned that we have Phil Karl, who is the assistant men's and women's bowling coach here at the University of Rio Grande. They began their 18-19 schedule in Muncie, Indiana this weekend, and we bring Phil into the conversation now. And last year, bowling a first-year program here at the university. Men did a little better than the women did last year, but the slate's wiped clean, and you start anew this weekend.
Yes, we're very excited about this season. We've brought in, well, first of all, we have about 11 leftover experienced people, returnees from that last year. We brought in about 18 other returnees or new students for the season, and the new freshmen are showing that they know what they're doing.
Talk about some of those returnees. I mean, again, I think more so on the men's side than the women's side. You got some kids back that got some quality experience last year.
We have Austin Cook, who is a sophomore from St. Mary's. He earned 2 all-tournament team distinctions last year. And then Chris Somerville is another sophomore.
He's the old man.
He's the old man of the group. He also earned an ATT in, I can't forget which one it was. So we're looking forward, we're leaning on them, along with some freshmen. We hope to have a real strong team this year.
Now, I really wasn't being mean to Chris.
I know.
If you want to explain to folks, Chris, in fact, is the old man of the
Yes,
team.
Chris is 43 years old. I call him Grandpa on the team.
That's great. That's great.
But he's a real inspiration for the younger bowlers. He's very knowledgeable in the bowling business, and he's our coach on the lanes.
And he started. Was he going to school before we announced that we were gonna have bowling? Do you remember? I can't remember how that went.
I don't really remember either. I know he's working full time, along with full time student and bowling on the team. So
and has a family on top.
Has a family on top of that.
Yeah, he is really good at twirling, you know, and
he's a good
he
example.
He can juggle things all over the place.
Yeah, time management is one of the things we hope our younger kids learn from him.
Sure. We can always learn from everybody like that. It's fantastic.
You guys are constantly recruiting. I'm going to assume that one of your focuses this year was on the fact of, like we said, trying to make the women's team a little stronger than it was last year.
Yes, we brought in 7 new women this year, and they're stronger than some of the girls that left us this past year. So we're looking for a invitation to the ITC sectional along with the boys that they won last year.
So you've had a year under your belt. I mean, I can remember a couple years ago we were talking about this, and with Brett Little, who's also coaching, and what have you? I mean, you talk about a blank slate. It was you guys really had no idea what you were getting into. Am I true to say that?
That's for sure.
Yeah, and so it's been a learning process.
Yes.
What are some of those things that you've learned here in the past year and a half or so?
We've learned it's important to be seen at the youth tournaments in the state. In fact, when they don't see one of us there, we hear about it.
Right? That's good.
Yeah,
see,
that is real good.
It's good.
Other things that we've learned. There's a lot of interest in bowling out there in the high school level.
It's all over the state.
It's all over the state.
Right.
And it's also increased the interest in Southeast Ohio. Also, with the addition of 2 new high school teams last year, there's been a third and fourth one. Benton County started a team this year, so it's even growing down here in the Southeast.
Who are those other teams that have started bowling?
Guy Academy, Jackson, Benton County, and there's a 4th one. I can't remember which one that was.
Okay, so that's good. And part of that interest is what we have done.
Yes,
We've created an interest.
Yes.
When I say we're the Rio Grande by starting collegiate bowling, and that's created an interest that's now trickled down into the high schools, seeing that, hey, this is something that I like to do. I can do it in high school, and then the opportunity for me to now do it at a collegiate level.
Right. And another thing that's been helpful for us, we've already signed 3 students for the 2019-20 season.
Already committed.
Yes,
early to that. Yes.
Right. So, and they've got several of their friends who are looking very seriously at us. So.
Right. And the NAIA just has projecting bowling in as a merging sport. And
are you breaking news on us?
No. This that happened last year actually. This is the second year of this, with the idea that in 2 more years there'll be a national championship. Right now, I think we're at 52 schools in the NAIA.
I believe that's what I've seen.
Have men's and women's bowling as an intercollegiate competition at the varsity level. So that is what allows us now to move forward with bowling to sponsor it as a national championship.
Yeah, I think one of the neat things about collegiate bowling is the fact you might be the only sport whose season starts in the fall and then literally moves all the way through into the spring.
Yes. It is a very long season.
Golf does that, but there's obviously the break there in winter for golf. You guys keep right on going.
Right. We do take a little break between Thanksgiving and Christmas to give our kids a chance to catch up on their studies. It's finals time. But we are going to a Christmas tournament again this year in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So that'll be our long trip. We have 13 tournaments scheduled this year. Possibly a 14th if we can get an invitation to the Hoosier Classic, but we're down on the waiting list, so that probably won't happen.
And that's something maybe we should also point out to those who aren't aware. You mentioned Allentown, Pennsylvania is your long trip, but it's kind of like any other sport here at Rio. You guys are in Ohio and Indiana and Pennsylvania. You go hither and yon to play.
Right. And our ITC sectional was in Smyrna, Tennessee last year. So.
Very good.
Well, again, they get started in Muncie, Indiana at the Cardinal Classic, and then off to Dayton on the 13th and 14th of October, and it just continues on. Indianapolis the following weekend, and Fort Wayne the following weekend after that. Phil, we wish you guys continued success.
Before you leave,
yes.
can I get you, Phil, to talk about what you guys did a few weekends ago at Skyline Lanes in Gallipolis? Could you explain what happened there?
Yes. The weekend before last, we had a high school clinic where we brought 3 professionals, Matt O'Grady, Alyssa Kearns, and Rhino Page, into work with our bowlers, along with two gold level coaches, Ron Hatfield and Dale Neiman. And they were here for 2 sessions on Saturday morning and afternoon session. And then we also, on the following day, Sunday, held a JTBA tournament for youth 20 and under. And that was a big success.
What were your numbers in those? About
approximately? The tournament was about approximately 120. The clinic, we had 17 in the morning session and about probably 50 in the afternoon session.
Right.
So,
right. Big success.
Big success.
Yeah.
We're planning to do that again next year. So if you if there's any interest out there, please pay attention to Rio Bowling, and we'll have that information online for you.
They've got a great Facebook page, and we obviously update it as well on the athletic website. And again, continued success to you and Brett and the team.
A lot of things in the future for bowling.
Yes, we're looking forward to it.
That's Phil Karl, the assistant bowling coach here at the University of Rio Grande. As we said, they getting ready to get their season underway, and it's a long season that stretches all the way into April. We shift our focus now to men's soccer. Rio having another very good season. They're off to a 7-0 start. They're ranked number 7 in the country. They head to Pittsburgh this weekend for conference games at Point Park and Carlo, and then home in October for the first 4 dates in October. They're actually their final 4 games at home on the schedule in October. Jeff, they're having another good year, and it's something that we've become spoiled over the years.
It is, you're right. And we have moved every week. We've kind of moved. We're creeping up in that coaches poll.
Right.
And you know, yes, we're undefeated. We've only been scored on 1 time. Maybe that's a knock on wood. But we were only scored on a penalty kick with 2 seconds remaining in a game we were ahead 2-0 to begin with. So the thing about soccer is that, yeah, everybody wants to see everybody score goals, but if you can keep people from scoring, you've got a pretty good shot. And they've got a very good defensive front out there in front of our goalie, and they're doing a great job.
And how about this? I got to say this. Rio has not had a defensive player of the week in the River States Conference, despite the fact there's Harry Riley, who's one of their offensive guys, who actually has been out the last 2 games. Unfortunately, he had a death in the family and flew back to England and did not play in either of the last 2 games. But Rio, in its last 3, has outshot the opposition 99-9, and the opposition doesn't have a shot on goal in the last 2 games.
Right.
But yet, no defensive player of the week.
I know. I don't know how that, and it's hard to do for soccer because, you know, if you're hitting and you can look at statistics and that, and it's hard to put a statistic on. You know, I can refer back in 2003, the MVP of the national tournament was one of our defenders, which is kind of hard for that. But when you don't get scored on, it has to go. Somebody or a group of people are doing something right.
We've got some senior leadership. I think actually that's one of the freshmen, Nicholas Cam Orellana, who has really done a little bit of everything thus far. But this Rio team getting good senior leadership from Eduardo Zarita. And while the defense is getting overlooked a little bit, offensively, James Williamson, the player of the week this week in the River States Conference.
Had a hat trick on
had a hat
Thursday,
trick against IU East, and then another goal against Mount
Vernon on Saturday. Yeah.
They are, again, 7-0. They are the men, and after a weekend trip to Pittsburgh for Point Park and Carlo, they'll be home on October 4, 6, 11, and 13 for conference home dates. Actually, 3 conference dates. And then on the 13th, you talk about a big date. They play a rival in Shawnee State, and that happens to be Bob's Fest weekend.
It is, and that's the Rockets over Rio weekend. That's always a big weekend. There'll be a pretty good crowd. You know, we'll always be around $3,000, 3,500 people will be down there to watch. Get there towards the end of our game to watch the fireworks immediately following our game. Fun weekend, really fun.
Very
weekend.
much so. We move on to women's soccer, and their record not as shining. 3-4-1. They're 1-0 in league play, but I think that 3-4-1 is very. I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Not indicative of how good of a team that they have. Coach Daniels has played a really good non-conference schedule, and I think, especially given the fact that the way they played against the University of the Cumberlands. This past weekend, a game they lost 2-1 against a team receiving votes in the top 25. Cumberland scored with just over 3 minutes left in the game. You get that kind of effort during conference play, you're going to be successful more often.
And we're kind of dinged up right now too. So he's got some starters that are either out or not playing in the same positions that they normally play in, just trying to fill spots. And I mean that's part of soccer too. I mean we experienced that on the men's side last year, where we had people playing all over the field and due to injury. So I think Tony's done a very good job in preparing his team to meet the conference play, and he'll get a good, on the road. We talked this morning talked in our meetings this week about saying be road warriors, and that's what we've got going in this weekend. Everybody's on the road. And that's what you have to turn into that. He's got a 1-0 in the conference. I think they've rated him second now. And then he has to go to Point Park and to Carlo there in Pittsburgh and kind of prove that they're right in ranking him higher.
I think we've got a couple of shots of game action from them there. You see Peyton Davis, who outstanding speed up front, and you mentioned the personnel changes. She had Kelsey Lee on the other side, but Kelsey Lee has had to play in goal the last 2 or 3 outings because of an injury to Dre Vera. And Peyton right now, I guess, actually has become probably the team's #1 offensive threat.
It is, and we hope that we can get Dre back in the goal so we can get Kelsey, I wanted to say Kelly. Kelsey back up front. She's a big target for our defenders to hit to, to pass to. So, and then she's hard to defend because she's a big athletic girl she can also run too.
And our other picture there is one of the freshmen that Coach Daniels and his squad relying on. That's Montana Myers in that game against the University of Cumberlands the other day. And she's one of the youngsters that's getting quite a bit of playing time.
And, the athleticism that's on this team is going to lead them a long way. And they'll the future, as we talked about with bowling, the future of our women's soccer program is definitely moving up. And so these freshmen, these young girls, a couple transfers, these people are part of kind of the new look of women's soccer here at Rio.
And again, they have the same schedule that the men do. They'll be playing double headers the rest of the way. So they too are home October 4, 6, 11, and 13. So by all means, come out and check out Rio Women's Soccer. Men's and women's cross country. Last weekend, they host the 48th annual Patty Forgy Invitational. On the men's side, the men finished second. They were led by the young man you see there, senior Cam Carpenter. He finished 4th overall. Numbers were down a little bit in terms of the overall numbers of runners, but still the weather was great, and what a great day on the course.
Coach Willie spoke about this, saying that this may have been one of the best they've had in 48 years, and that's a big statement. any event that you can continuously do for 48 straight years is that's a wow that goes on our campus, and it's used to be with the Farm Festival. I mean,
Right.
used to coincide on the same weekend. The Farm Festival got too big, we got too big, so we had to change the weekends. But this is also the 48th for the Farm Festival as well. So it's kind of neat that that's able to continue like that, and the success that we've had with it.
We talked about the men finishing second, Cam Carpenter finishing fourth overall. On the women's side, there you see Lucy Williams on the right. Rio, not enough runners to field a team for a team score, but individually, Lucy Williams finished first. Abelina Sullivan, a freshman, finished fourth. Lucy's a senior, going to be tough to see her go, but the women, I guess, not really struggling. There's just not enough of them.
Right, and I think he's going to have some. He's got some 800 runners from track that are going to kind of fill in so that they can compete at the conference tournament coming up.
They run in Akron this weekend at the All-Ohio Championships, and then a couple of meets in October at Wilmington and up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Men's golf, as we move to the links, men's golf, there you see Jared Lemaster with watching one of his putts coming off of the program's first tournament win. They won the Kentucky Christian Fall Classic down in Grayson on the 8th and 9th of September. They finished second in Alice Lloyd's tournament just a few days later and came that close to winning that one as well.
Tied going into the final hole. Our golfer birdies the hole. That's pretty good.
You got to feel good about that.
I think it was who was it? Shawnee State? No,
It's
who was
Pikeville.
it? It's Pikeville. That was sorry, it was Pikeville's player eagles the hole first, and we lose by one stroke. Good showing, very good showing.
And they are getting better as they go along. They are at Miami Hamilton on the 29th and 30th. There you see Kim Edelman with a putt for herself on the women's side. Coming off their best performance at Heidelberg on the 15th and 16th, they're at IU Kokomo this weekend. A lot of youngsters on their roster as well, but they're getting better as the season goes on.
It is, and I was fortunate enough to be able to take them up to Heidelberg. Coach Asmund was not able to go, and instead of canceling, I said I'll jump in. So I was the coach that weekend, and you said they finished the highest. I just saying, all right, just.
You want an attaboy? Attaboy.
Well, and Kim is a sophomore by.
And that was her first tournament that she was eligible to play.
This semester, that's right. So all of these girls, it's a brand new. This collegiate, the length gets them, and so they're kind of getting into their groove too, and using this fall to get better for that springtime. That's when that's when it's counted there.
Very quickly before we run out of time, I know you just got back from Kansas City and wanted to mention some things going on out of the
That's
ADA
right.
meeting.
Yeah, we every fall we have a athletic director association meeting. There's a board of 24 of us that meet out there. We have all the ADs, all the conference commissioners, and all of the conference has a representative of the presidents that meet out, and we go. My goodness, we go for 2 days about as hard as we could go. We have meetings, eat, have meetings, eat again, and then have more meetings. 70-page agenda in a 2-day period. It was quick, but it was good things. There was a lot of talk about return on athletics. That's what we are talking about, using data to help us on our campuses to make decisions. Talking about membership, we're now up to 252 with the addition of Thomas Moore. In the organization, the NAI, and trying to meet 275 by year 2021. And then the other one is a financial piece. They're looking at the financial makeup of all sports. What are the scholarship limits and how they're counted. So there's all kinds of different committees and things going on. A lot of stuff to come out from that here in the next couple of years.
And with that, we will bring an end to this September edition of Eye on the Storm, and we look forward to talking with you again next month. We appreciate Phil Karl and Sara Rawls for joining us today. For Jeff Lanham, Randy Payton saying see ya from Eye on the Storm.